Good afternoon, class. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, and welcome to the final case study, The Evolution of Unilever's Dove Brand. My name is Paul Ruiz, and I'm joined today by my fellow Group D members, Stephen Collum, James Levin, Thomas Reason, Thomas McGordy, and Eric Bergman. Unlike the previous four case studies that challenged the groups to develop a strategic marketing plan, Real Beauty campaign by Dove was a successful marketing campaign that spanned the better part of 2 decades and changed the way consumer product companies advertise to consumers. So what is a Unilever? Founded in 1929 when Dutch margarine producer Margarine Unier and the British soap maker Lever Brothers merged for mutual palm oil interests. Today, Unilever is a multinational consumer packaged good company with over 400 brands producing products in the food and beverage, personal care, and pharmaceutical categories. The estimated total revenues for Unilever in 2019 were over 52 billion euros, and Unilever today is considered the third largest consumer product company behind P&G and Nestle. In 2000, Unilever decided to consolidate their 1,600 brand portfolio and identified several master brands in which their core businesses would be based around, one of them being Dove. Today, Unilever's mission statement reads as follows: We help people around the world meet everyday needs for nutrition, hygiene, and well-being with brands that help people look good, feel good, and get more out of life. So a little bit about the master brand, Dove. Dove Cream Bar launched in 1957, campaigning that Dove does not dry out your skin because it was a quarter cleansing cream. Following the feminist movement of the 60s, more women started entering the workforce and controlling household spending. Advertisers began to rethink methods on how they were reaching an increasingly important market segment, middle-aged women. In 1995, Dove brand portfolios increased significantly and revenues topped out at just over $200 million. Today, Dove brand is now worth $5.9 billion. I'd like to bring us back to the 1990s and give us some perspective on what consumers were seeing when deciding between personal care products. The year is 1999. Y2K fever is spreading like wildfire. Every 7 seconds, a U.S. baby boomer is turning the age of 50, and anti-aging remedies are at the top of the cosmetic benefit list. Female ages between 45 and 54 are responsible for the highest sales of body care and bath products. The internet is becoming more mainstream and thus dawning the new age of advertisement and reaching consumers. Three females, differing in height, weight, age, and ethnicity, have just run out of their uninspiring soap and are looking for a different product. As they begin their search for a product, they're bombarded by ads showing supermodel spokesmen and unrealistic transformations. There are four main brands of which consumers are more likely to use, and Dove is one of them.
Thank you, Paul. My name is Steve Callum, and I'm going to review some of the advertising campaigns of Dove and its competitors. As Paul mentioned, Dove's advertising leading up to the year 2000 was focused solely on the functionality of the product. They wanted you to know it was not soap, but rather a beauty bar that contained soap plus 1/4 moisturizer. You can see that in the ads on this slide.
We abuse our skin. I'm one of the biggest culprits. I don't moisturize enough. With Dove, my skin feels like I've used soap, water, and moisturizer.
We asked women across America to give up their ordinary soap and take the Dove 7-day test.
Dove looks like soap, but it's not. It's like cream. Dove moisturizing cream.
Dove is 1/4 moisturizing cream. It can give you softer, smoother skin in 7 days.
With Dove, my skin felt relaxed and silky. It didn't feel tight and taut.
Sweet.
Before we evaluate the marketing strategy of Dove, we will take a look at the existing landscape of advertising in the women's soap and beauty products in the late 90s and early 2000s, which led Dove to take the significant steps it did in its Real Beauty campaign. Ivory's ads in the 90s and early 2000s focused on soap's purity, claiming it to be 99.4% pure soap. This was in direct opposition to Dove's ads focusing on the 1/4 moisturizer.
What I am is an ivory baby who's all grown up. I mean, it was not easy, but it's really interesting. And what I feel is that real beauty is an open mind, an honest heart, and a willingness to change. And what I really, really want is to have beautiful skin forever.
Trust Ivory's purity for beautiful skin. Ivory. No strong perfumes, creams, or dyes. Baby your skin with Ivory.
Once an ivory baby?
Nivea focused on the more sexually appealing advertisements with statements like irresistibly touchable skin or touch and be touched.
Now there's a moisturizer softer than anything you've ever felt from Nivea. New Nivea Soft. A tender souffle of whipped moisturizers, vitamin E, and jojoba oil. It's the softness of a summer rain for your skin. Nivea Soft.
Similar to Dove in the 80s and 90s, Jergens focused on the composition of their soap with the healing qualities of aloe and lanolin.
Tired of the same old bar? Bathe yourself in something really new. Jergens Aloe or Jergens Vitamin E Skin Conditioning Bars. For skin that feels more than clean, it feels healthy. New Jergens Aloe.
Before launching their revolutionary marketing campaign, Dove approached their market research in a novel way for a soap and beauty company. They worked with psychologists to develop and analyze surveys that were given to women about their perceptions of beauty. The results were shocking and helped Dove shape its new approach in their upcoming marketing campaign.
In 2004, Dove launched its first phase of the campaign for beauty with its Tick Box campaign. Dove hired John Waddell, a well-known fashion photographer famous for using ordinary people in a supermodel context. This will be the first time using ordinary people instead of models in its advertisements for Dove. They created large ads containing women of varying sizes and skin colors like the ones you see here, but they also added a twist. They added checkboxes to these advertisements and asked the public to vote on how they view these women. This was an instant success for Dove, driving over 1 million viewers quickly to its website to vote on the varying ads and discuss the movement in their forums. Sales jumped 2% in 1 month, and unit sales rose 5% year over year, with total sales increasing to over $500 million. That's not to say there weren't risks involved with this campaign. The promotions were costly and didn't market any specific product of Dove's, meaning it could not have helped unit sales whatsoever. This was also a largely unattempted idea that they had no idea would work or what the reception would be from the public. Fortunately, it worked out. In the end, it rapidly became apparent that the Tick Box campaign was a success. It greatly increased Dove's brand awareness, with billboards being talked about on TV shows like The Oprah Winfrey Show, being talked about on major media outlets and news outlets, and in magazines. It also created a great dialogue between Dove and its customers through their websites and the interactions there. And on top of that, it brought a major issue in today's society to the forefront of people's minds, and Dove's name was attached to that movement. In 2005, following the massive success of the Tick Box campaign, Dove launched Phase 2, known internally as the Firming campaign. Dove was launching its new skin firming cream and wanted to take a similar approach with these advertisements. They created huge billboards depicting this picture: 6 ordinary women of varying sizes and skin colors in plain underwear. This time the ads were to promote a real product of Dove's, but also to continue its mission on reinforcing what real beauty was. This campaign was a huge success for Dove. It led to a 700% increase in sales of the firming lotion, and it increased Dove's market share from 1% to 6%. There were once again some drawbacks to this strategy. Dove received negative feedback from some media outlets based on the models they were using. And on top of this, worry began to grow in the company. Certain people at Dove worried that if they continued to promote and reinforce their real beauty objective, it would take away the aspirational component from its customers. Why spend money on beauty products if they were already beautiful without them? It is clear, though, from the sales numbers that this concern was invalid. The numbers speak for themselves. These ads continued to drive Dove's brand awareness globally and kept people talking about the movement they had started. It is clear once again this campaign was a hit.
In Phase 3 of the Real Beauty campaign, Dove aired an advertisement during the 2006 Super Bowl. This ad featured the children of the executive team speaking about their own real-life self-esteem struggles. The focus of this advertising was to reinforce the general theme of the Real Beauty concept by opening up the Dove brand to all consumers and shedding light on some of the uglier impacts of the beauty industry. Some of the positives of this ad strategy were that it focused on the real-life testimonials of some of the users of the products, and it played on some of the emotions of the overall target audience. This strategy was not without some noted risks as well, such as what would the public think of using children in this kind of advertising in a somewhat exploitative manner? Was the ad going to be effective despite not mentioning a specific product or product line? And could the company control the overall conversation that was generated as a result of this ad strategy? In conclusion, we feel this ad was very effective in supporting the overall message of Dove's Real Beauty campaign. The ad generated positive brand exposure and encouraged a positive dialogue on self-esteem challenges perpetuated by the beauty industry. In phase 4 of the campaign, Dove presented a new kind of advertising than their brand was accustomed to and decided to venture into the realm of online advertising through the emerging medium of YouTube. The result was a YouTube video known as The Evolution of Beauty, which presented the time-lapse evolution of an ordinary woman into a supermodel billboard image through hours of makeup and photo editing. This advertisement allowed Dove to present the lesser-known realities of the beauty industry while differentiating their brand as a different type of beauty company. Some of the major risks of this specific ad strategy was that it opened up the brand to the uncontrolled reactions and commentary in YouTube, and that once again it didn't focus on a specific product or product line by name. In conclusion, we feel that this ad was very effective in the execution of online advertising for the Dove brand. Despite not being aired directly on television originally, this ad was widely discussed and received multiple mentions on talk shows and programs throughout the country and throughout the world. This ad effectively allowed Dove to reach a broad set of consumers and generate positive brand exposure. We think this was an effective way for Dove to cap their campaign and offered a significant brand return. Despite the campaign's overall success, our group did think there were a couple of steps that Dove could have taken to increase the overall effectiveness. First off, Dove focused their ads specifically on women, and we think in turn they may have missed a potential entry point into the men's hygiene market before a lot of companies really differentiated their space. We feel that the positive brand exposure that resulted in this campaign may have offered a very nice entry point into that field. Another strategy that Dove should have considered was incorporating some sort of a product launch or product line launch in the overall structure. We feel that if this was done properly, the company would have seen tremendous benefit from the increased brand exposure and the general positive brand attitude that came out of the Real Beauty campaign. Those things considered, overall, the Dove campaign for Real Beauty was a massive success. Dove benefited greatly from the attention the advertising campaign generated, and as a result, saw a $1.5 billion increase in product sales over the campaign's first 10 years. And this campaign still generates positive brand conversations today.